There is a $6 mineral that reflects 98% of solar heat away from your roof, like a mirror bouncing light across a room. One bag covers an entire house. It drops indoor temperatures by 15 to 20 degrees without using a single watt of electricity. The ancient Greeks painted their entire city with it. The Romans mixed it into every public building they constructed for over 800 years. Every Mediterranean village still uses it to stay cool in 100-degree summers. Then a $200 billion air conditioning industry decided you should never learn its name. They did not stop using this mineral because it failed. They stopped because it worked too well. A simple white powder that costs $6 and lasts for years cannot be sold back to you every month, and anything that cannot generate recurring profit has to be forgotten. Welcome to Forbidden Camping. This is where we unbury what the energy industry buried. If these stories matter to you, hit subscribe and ring the bell. Every share preserves what they tried to erase. A mineral that reflects heat for $6 cannot compete with a $4,000 air conditioning unit that breaks every 7 years and costs $200 monthly to operate. And yet for thousands of years, billions of people cooled their homes with this simple white powder that cost almost nothing to make. The industry did not replace it with something better. They replaced it with something more profitable. There is a difference. That difference is what this video is about. In 2400 BC, somewhere along the sun-scorched eastern Mediterranean coast, Egyptian builders prepare a massive limestone quarry. They do not mine this stone just for monuments. They crush it into powder and mix it with water to create a brilliant white coating that reflects the brutal desert sun away from dwelling walls. The Egyptians understood something that modern homeowners have been made to forget. White surfaces do not just look cooler, they actually are cooler because they reflect thermal radiation instead of absorbing it. Pliny the Elder documented this practice in his natural history texts around 77 AD. He described entire Roman cities coated in crushed limestone mixed with water, creating what he called the whitest surfaces known to civilization. The Greeks adopted it by 400 BC and painted the Acropolis structures with it. The Romans engineered it into their aqueducts and public baths where temperature control meant the difference between functional infrastructure and crumbling failure. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away across the Mediterranean and into North Africa, builders independently discovered the identical principle. Berber villages in Morocco, Greek island towns, southern Italian coastal settlements. Every civilization that faced serious summer heat came to the same conclusion. Coat your roof and walls with crushed limestone. Let the sun bounce away instead of soaking in. For thousands of years, this was common knowledge passed from generation to generation. A mason knew it. A homeowner knew it. A city planner knew it. The mineral is called hydrated lime or calcium hydroxide. It costs $6 for a 50-pound bag at any hardware store. That bag covers approximately 800 square feet. An average American home has 1,200 to 1,500 square feet of roof surface. 2 bags, $12. One application lasts 3 to 5 years, depending on weather exposure. Compare that to a central air conditioning system costing $4,000 to $8,000 to install, breaking down every 5 to 7 years, consuming 1,500 to 3,000 kilowatt hours of electricity every single month during summer operation. The air conditioning industry generates $200 billion globally every year, projected to reach $300 billion by 2030. And none of that money comes from selling you a $12 solution that you apply once and forget for years. Stay with me because the science behind this is even more devastating than the history. Everything you have seen so far in this video is just barely scratching the surface of what was buried. I collected every single technique and every real proven study and every method that the energy industry hid from you. All of it inside the complete Forbidden Camping Vault package. Traditional cooling methods that work without electricity. Insulation techniques using materials you already own. Ventilation systems that move air without fans. Over 10 complete guides, all in one place with no fluff. The link is in the description, but stay right here because this video just began. In 1973, a top researcher at Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory out in California named Hashem Akbari painted a flat rooftop with simple powdered limestone mixed with water. He measured surface temperatures before and after application using calibrated infrared sensors. The black asphalt roof registered 168 degrees Fahrenheit in direct afternoon sun. After coating with hydrated lime, that same roof surface dropped to 94 degrees under identical conditions, a 74-degree temperature reduction from a coating that cost $11 in materials. Akbari published his findings in peer-reviewed journals, including Energy and Buildings and the Journal of Applied Meteorology. His research documented that for every 10% increase in roof reflectivity, indoor cooling demand drops by approximately 5 to 10% depending on climate and insulation factors. A white lime-coated roof reflects between 95 and 98% of visible light and thermal radiation. A standard dark asphalt or composite shingle roof reflects between 5 and 15%. That 80 to 90% difference translates directly into how much heat enters your home through the roof surface. Here's how it works at the molecular level. When sunlight strikes a surface, the photons carry energy. Dark surfaces absorb that energy and convert it into heat through molecular vibration. Light surfaces reflect those photons away before energy conversion occurs. Hydrated lime creates an almost perfectly white surface with a solar reflectance index measuring between 0.85 and 0.95 on a scale where 1.0 represents perfect reflection. The calcium hydroxide molecules arrange in crystal structures that scatter light in all directions rather than absorbing specific wavelengths. This is not paint. Paint contains pigments and binders that yellow over time and lose reflective properties. Pure lime coating maintains reflectivity for years because the mineral itself is white at the molecular level. A landmark study published in 2011 by researchers at the Heat Island Group at Lawrence Berkeley confirmed that cool roofs reduce peak cooling demand by 10 to 15% in hot climates. NASA used similar reflective coatings on spacecraft to manage thermal radiation in the vacuum of space, where temperature control cannot rely on air convection. The principle is identical whether you are protecting a satellite from solar radiation or protecting your home from summer heat. Reflect the energy before it converts to heat. Once thermal energy enters a structure, removing it requires mechanical work, which means electricity consumption, which means monthly bills. In 2008, the California Energy Commission mandated cool roofs for certain commercial buildings, acknowledging decades of research proving their effectiveness. And yet residential building codes continue to approve dark shingle roofs that absorb 90% of solar radiation and transfer it directly into attic spaces, where it raises indoor temperatures and forces air conditioning systems to run continuously just to maintain livable conditions. The global air conditioning industry generates $200 billion annually. Companies like Carrier, Trane, Lennox, Daikin, Mitsubishi depend on one business model: recurring purchases and ongoing electricity consumption. You buy the unit for thousands of dollars, then you pay installation, then you pay monthly electric bills that spike every summer, then you pay for repairs when components fail, then you replace the entire system every 7 to 10 years and start the cycle again. That is not a product. That is a subscription disguised as a physical object. A $6 bag of hydrated lime applied to your roof threatens none of their revenue because you pay once, and it works for years without requiring their service technicians or replacement parts or monthly billing. Here is the part that should make every homeowner genuinely angry. Building codes in 43 states permit and even encourage dark roofing materials that maximize solar heat absorption. The stated reason is aesthetic preference and material durability. The real reason is that the more heat enters your home, the more you depend on mechanical cooling systems. In 2016, a Department of Energy study calculated that if every roof in America were coated with reflective materials, national cooling energy demand would drop by 24 billion kilowatt hours annually. That represents $12 billion in electricity sales. Utility companies earn revenue based on kilowatt hours consumed. Every kilowatt hour you do not use is revenue they do not collect. Cool roofs reduce consumption. Reduced consumption means reduced revenue. The utilities do not explicitly ban cool roofs. They simply ensure building codes never mandate them, and contractors never recommend them, and homeowners never hear about them. The air conditioning industry needed you ignorant of this mineral for the same reason the pharmaceutical industry needs you ignorant of preventive nutrition. Treatment generates more profit than prevention. Recurring purchases generate more profit than one-time solutions. They did not bury this because it failed. They buried it because it worked too well. If you have made it this far, you already know more about passive cooling than 99% of people in America. Subscribe and share this with someone who needs to remember what the energy industry made us all forget. Everything they buried is inside the complete vault. The link is in the description. Now stay with me because the next part is the heaviest. You need hydrated lime, also called calcium hydroxide or builder's lime. A 50-pound bag costs $6 to $8 at any hardware store, including Home Depot, Lowe's, or local masonry supply stores. Do not confuse this with quicklime or agricultural lime. You specifically need hydrated lime, chemical formula COH2. You also need a paint roller with thick nap, a roller pan, and water. Total cost, including the roller and pan, runs about $15 if you do not already own painting supplies. Mix 1 part hydrated lime with 2 parts water in a 5-gallon bucket. Stir until you have a smooth consistency similar to latex paint. The mixture should coat the roller evenly without dripping excessively. If it is too thick, add water gradually. If it is too thin, add more lime powder. Pour the mixture into your roller pan. Apply to clean, dry roof surface using a thick nap roller designed for rough surfaces. 2 full coats provide optimal coverage. Let the first coat dry completely, which takes 4 to 6 hours depending on temperature and humidity. Apply the second coat perpendicular to the first for complete coverage. The coating dries to a brilliant matte white finish within 24 hours. A homeowner in Phoenix, Arizona, did exactly this in July 2019. His composite shingle roof measured 154 degrees Fahrenheit before treatment. After applying 2 coats of hydrated lime, the surface temperature dropped to 98 degrees under identical afternoon sun conditions. His attic temperature fell from 137 degrees to 102 degrees. His indoor temperature dropped by 12 degrees without running air conditioning. He calculated electricity savings of $143 monthly during summer months. Over a 5-month cooling season, that represents $715 in savings from a $12 material investment. The coating lasted 4 years before needing reapplication. Compare that to a new central air conditioning installation costing $6,000 to $12,000 plus monthly electric bills averaging $150 to $300 during summer operation. The AC unit requires professional maintenance every year costing $150 to $300. Components fail requiring repairs averaging $400 to $800 over the system's lifespan. After 7 to 10 years, the entire unit needs replacement and you start the financial cycle again. Hydrated lime costs $12, requires no professional installation, needs no maintenance, consumes 0 electricity, and lasts 3 to 5 years before reapplication. The total 5-year cost is $24 versus over $15,000 for conventional air conditioning including installation, electricity, and maintenance. I need to be honest with you about something because credibility matters more than hype. Lime coating is not perfect. It needs reapplication every 3 to 5 years as weather gradually wears the surface. Rain and UV exposure break down the coating over time. In extremely humid climates, mold or algae can grow on the surface requiring cleaning or earlier reapplication. But compare that maintenance to air conditioning systems that require annual professional service, frequent filter replacement, refrigerant recharging, and complete replacement every 7 years. This is survival knowledge, not commercial convenience. The Romans did not optimize for 0 maintenance, they optimized for what works. In 2400 BC, Egyptian builders crushed limestone to keep their homes cool. In 77 AD, Pliny the Elder documented white-coated Roman cities staying comfortable in Mediterranean heat. In 1973, Hashem Akbari proved the science at Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory. In 2008, California mandated cool roofs for commercial buildings based on decades of research. In 2011, NASA confirmed reflective coatings manage thermal radiation in spacecraft. And yet a $200 billion industry would rather sell you a mechanical system that costs thousands to install, hundreds monthly to operate, and needs complete replacement every 7 years. This knowledge did not die. It was waiting in ancient texts, in peer-reviewed journals, in NASA technical reports, in the memory of Mediterranean villages that never forgot. And now, sitting right here, watching this video, you just reclaimed it. If this vault opened something for you, subscribe and share it. Every share preserves what the industry spent decades trying to erase. Every person who learns this is one less customer they can count on. The next vault opens soon. What is inside is even heavier than what we uncovered today.